I think you're gonna, someone needs, because it's asking me, I normally, when I do sessions, I put the recording on my computer. Are you asking it for the computer or on the cloud? Where do you want the recording to go?
Start a recording side.
Anyone is fine.
Well, but then the recording sits on my computer, and then I have to figure out a way to share it. So I'll let someone else hit the recording, then it's at your end.
Yes,
I think it's recording now, right?
It is recording, yes. So let me share my screen back again. Go ahead. Right, you start. I don't start.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another great masterclass with the Masterclass Initiative and Great Get Jobs Nigeria. I'm truly excited to be back with you, and I'm sure you're expecting Engineer Idris. Well, he decided to turn into a female. I'm just joking. He's unfortunately under the weather today. He is with us, but he's under the weather today. As you all know, if you're in Nigeria, there's been a lot of rains taking place, so he succumbed to it, and we wish him very speedy recovery, and we do indeed miss you, Engineer. We hope to have you back with us very soon. But I'm not alone today. We have a wonderful speaker with us all the way from the United States of America, and I'll be introducing her shortly. Today's topic is going to be about career and job development, and we have the right person with us to help us to unpack this subject. Before we do, I would like to just take a moment to recognize the week that has been taking place in Nigeria recently. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the families of those who were brutally murdered, and those who have, were caught in the crossfire, unfortunately, in the incidents that took place this week. We continue to pray for Nigeria. We hope for the best, and we hope that, we get less and less. And we hope that with all the happenings, that the young people of Nigeria will continue to fight for their rights and fight for good. So I just want us to take a moment to just recognize what has happened.
Amen.
And I hope that through these masterclasses, we can be able to discuss and be able to address these issues in a constructive and a very productive way, to help us to chart towards a better future, not just for Nigeria, but for all of Africa. So with that said, I want to now turn and introduce to you our speaker, Dr. Arifa Garman. She is all the way from Florida with us today. Welcome, Dr. Arifa. We have a really esteemed guest with us. She originally originates from the Middle East, but was educated in Canada and the United States, and she's currently in the US, as I say, in Florida. She has, she's doing an amazing career. She's taken an amazing career path, very visionary, I must say, because if you look at what this pandemic has created, all of us are now moving online to learn. And this is her field. She is the head of and the founder of, e-learning, Garman e-learning LLC. And she's going to tell us a lot about what she does and how, that is helping a lot of young people and aspiring professionals in their careers through her her business and through her experience as well. So I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'm going to give her the chance to tell you more about her background, who she is, because I don't think I can do it justice as much as she can. So before I let her take over, just a few house rules. Please remember that all microphones need to be muted at this time so that we allow the presentation to go through seamlessly. And thereafter, we will have a Q&A session where you will have the opportunity to pose your questions to Dr. Garman. And I'd like to ask that if you really have a burning question, just type it out in the chat rather than interrupt the session, and then we will address it soon after. We will also be recording the session, so if you'd like to watch it later again or share with others, and we encourage you to do that, you can have a copy of that straight after the session. Please follow us on our social networks, on all our platforms, Get Jobs Nigeria, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, Minds Connect, and the Masterclass Initiative. Please follow us to keep up with all the future events and sessions that will be coming up in future. And we want to also take a moment to recognize and congratulate Get Jobs for the achievement of having helped secure 300 job successes in this past year. Well done to Engineer Idris and all of you. Congratulations to all of you who have been able to secure jobs. And we hope that some of you are still going to get your dream job in the next coming weeks. So there's still hope, even though the market has been down. These are success stories that we indeed need to celebrate and recognize. And with that, I would like to now hand over to Dr. Arifa Garman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. Indeed, it is a tough time for all of us. So my training, as was mentioned, my training is in curriculum and instruction. My doctorate is in distance learning, and I've been in the distance learning industry for over 20 years right now. About a year ago, I started my own company, Garman e-learning, and it's basically I train faculty and teachers to master the online education. So today we're going to talk about career and job development, and I'm going to take you through all the steps that you need to do. And
I just wanted to say, while you're starting, Dr. Garman, I mean, that was so, as I said, visionary of you, because look at today, how much this field is booming, and you have so much extensive experience in this area ahead of everyone.
Right. It was because in and I work with other countries, especially some in the Middle East, that it's, when everybody was resistant to go online, now everybody has been forced to do online. And I'll be talking to you about jobs that when jobs before it was absolutely in person. I talked to several people, and HR people said, COVID told us that you could do the job from almost anywhere. So because I'm sharing my screens, but I do have my chat sessions. So if you can tell me exactly where you are, you can either type it in the chat, or do you have the ability for them to kind of make a mark on the screen? Just tell me where you are, where actually you're from, so that I have an idea about the audience.
So audience, I mean, you can unmute if you want to say it quickly, or you can type it in the chat.
In the chat is fine.
Okay, so just type it out in the chat so that she knows where you're all coming from.
Okay, so I have Wahsin from Nigeria. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to continue because I'm sharing my screen. Where is my? So today, I'd like you to either type A, B, or C. Today, what's your goal for today? A, to find a job. Obviously we're not offering the job, but what are you looking for in general? Are you looking to find a job, to create a LinkedIn profile, or to just advance your job search? A, B, or C? And in the chat is fine. Okay, A. Okay, so I see that the majority are A, good. So currently, again, A, B, or C. I have a job, looking for a job, or just getting ideas. So this is currently I have a job, looking for a job, or just getting ideas. Okay, so B, looking for a job. A, someone having a job, okay. B, okay. So this is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to look at where to search, how to search, beginning the job search, your LinkedIn profile, your other social media, resume, interview, and what should happen after the interview. And usually when there's several slides I'll ask you, for the sake of time, I usually pause for about a minute and I'll acknowledge it as I go on. So I like that, and I'm trying not to say the names because I know I'm gonna, not say them correctly, but I like that someone is A and B. And I think most of us, which is something I learned recently, that you should always be looking for a job. So before you start, you should always have a goal in mind. Know who you're going to talk to, what skills they value the most, and plan your time and search accordingly. I'm going to be talking to you a lot today about the who, because that it's very important to know who you need to talk to. So beginning your job development search, who is in your network, who you need to reach out to. So, a lot of people, millions and millions of people lost their jobs. So if you had a job, who's in your network? Who do you need to establish contact with? And I'm going to talk to you about how you establish contact and then kind of the next step. These are 4 websites you can begin to look for a job. LinkedIn is number 1, and I'm going to dive into a lot more details about LinkedIn, your profile, what to do, how to create your contact, expand your contact. Simply Hired, Indeed, and Glassdoor. So make a plan and stick with it. And that's very important. Sometimes I find people, they'll spend 2-3 days really looking, and then a week or 2, nothing. So make a plan. If you say I'm going to search for a job an hour a day, then it needs to be an hour a day. Because if you wait for 2 weeks, the jobs that open and they already had 50, 60, 200 applications, it's probably too late. So start with a master plan. Identify your target job or jobs. What skills you have that you can put to use. I'm going to go into details on each one of those. What keywords that might be associated with your next job, and job titles that come up when you conduct the job search. It's going to look like this. So skills you have, you want to put to use. These skills are not always necessarily the skills you learned on the job or you learned in school at the university. So for example, if you coach a soccer team, you have learned a lot of skills in coaching a soccer team. You have to have time organization. You have to do with conflict, right? We all know if you have parents, well, at least in the United States, angry parents, why your child. So you have a lot of skills you gained from that. Your yellow circle is the skills you have, you want to put to use. Your blue circle is job titles that come up when you conduct a job search. The red circle is keywords. So data analysis, time management, manager. What's in green is what happened with all the overlaps together. These are the 3 circles that have all the 3 and start looking there. So consistency in branding yourself. We sometimes have a lot of social media outlet. You want, especially when you're looking for a job, you want to be the same across all platforms. So once you have the overlap, the green, your resume, your LinkedIn, your other platform should all say the same thing. You'd be surprised that someone on LinkedIn say, I have a master's, but in their resume, they only have a bachelor's degree. That is absolutely no, and that's going to appear as you're not being ethical and immediately take you out of the equations. So all other platforms, if you are a heavy Facebook users, I know, especially if you're going into corporate, I know most higher ed here in the United States, They don't ask you for your Facebook login, but other corporate world, they will ask you for it. So be mindful of what you post, because you need to be consistent across branding yourself. So let's talk about LinkedIn and say why LinkedIn. Let's talk about numbers. 700 million total numbers of users who have account on LinkedIn. 100 million of those log in daily. Some log in for hours, some log in for a few minutes. 95% of recruiters use LinkedIn search tools to identify candidates. Millions of jobs are listed there daily. We're going to talk about your profile. A complete profile gives you 27 more time chances of being found through searches. So when employers or recruiters pull up your profile, one of two things is going to happen. A, they're going to gain confidence, or they won't. And if they don't, you probably will not get a second look. So your profile, your LinkedIn profile, you want to optimize your profile so recruiters and employers can find you. You have a story to tell. Tell that story on LinkedIn. You know, not that I was raised, but by choosing the right keywords, what story are you telling employers? This helps get you recognition, opportunity, credibility, and showcase your brand. Your profile can include videos, presentations, content photos. Remember, your profile helps people see who you are and what you do. So when I add someone on my LinkedIn, the first thing I do when I want to connect with someone, or rather with someone add me as a connection, I go on LinkedIn on their profile and see their profile. Because when I want to add someone to my profile, I want to see there is a mutual connection. And I'll tell you a little later that when you add someone, tell them why you're adding it. This cannot happen from a phone or a tablet. I think now I saw on my iPad you can, but from a computer, it tells you add a node. So tell that person why you want to connect with them, not just to increase numbers. So when I attend webinars or lectures, I say that I attended several of your webinar. I think it would be beneficial to both of us to connect on LinkedIn instead of just connect. So what to include in your LinkedIn profile? Do you create job aids? Do you create presentation? Good example of these. Because if a recruiter is trying to find you, before they go through the trouble of talking to you, these are examples of work you already do. Remember to always bring the focus on the story, bring the story to life when you share something with people. So your LinkedIn profile, these are the quick tips. First, write in the first person narrative. You know, don't write in the third person. Arifa was short, concise paragraph. Check your visibility settings. I'm going to show you exactly how you check your visibility setting. If your visibility setting, I think I want to mute their, can you mute them? Are you able to mute their
Can I ask you to mute? Please, can you mute? Thank you.
I think you can mute them. Oh, you can do. So I'm going to show you your visibility setting. If you're in the job market and your visibility setting is only set to your first connection, well, recruiters aren't going to find you. The next slides, I'll show you how to change that. Brand characteristic, remember, focusing on brand, key traits, skills, value that define you. Use bullets point that shows your skills, your accomplishment. Focus on results always. We're going to talk about focusing on result on your resume, on your cover letter, on your LinkedIn. People interested, not just, you know, I was the executive director of e-learning and testing. Okay, great. But what did you accomplish in those jobs? So this is how you can go to change your visibility setting. You click on, this is obviously me, you click on that says that me, the picture, click on view profile, and then you scroll down. This actually goes all the way. So notice mine says public. If yours says only first degree connection, meaning only those few friends that you have can see you and can see what you write, your network, all LinkedIn members, or public. I have mine set as public, meaning every time I reply to someone, to a post, every time I post something in, it actually shows. Notice that as you scroll down, not only you can choose, if you say public, your summary, your headline, your activities, this is LinkedIn to me is a network of connecting with others. So let it be public. You don't have to do that, but that's where you go. Again, me, under you, your name, where you see your picture and me, then under view profile, and then change the visibility setting. So LinkedIn profile, leverage the LinkedIn and other social network. Who's your alumni? Who did you graduate with? High school, college, etc. People like to connect with their alumni. Community network, interest group. If you, probably any community or interest group, you're going to find a group on LinkedIn. Search for people, search for company, ask for introductions. So if I know someone, but I really, and I'm going to show you how it's second, then you can ask someone. So let's say Mohsen, since I know how to pronounce Mohsen. Mohsen is a friend with someone I really like to know. You can say, can you introduce me to someone? Write an article on LinkedIn. If you're very new to LinkedIn, start replying to people. You can actually reply to posts you like. Obviously you're replying not, I agree, you're absolutely right. Read what they post and write something meaningful, so your name become recognizable. Interview people you want to meet, the next step probably. So your LinkedIn profile photo. Your LinkedIn profile photo is important because most people are actually using this to work and do especially LinkedIn. So your photo should, a good profile photo receives 9 times more connection requests. Your photo should be of you, front and center. No pets, no other people, no busy background. Your profile picture should be taken with intention. So don't take picture with someone at a wedding and then white out theirs. You'd be surprised how many pictures like that. So I want you right now in the chat. Wait, hold on. Someone is saying they can only see that career and development. Are you seeing as I'm advancing the slides?
No, I think it's frozen.
No.
Can you move? Try to see if it can move from your side.
Wow. What do you see? Okay, hold on. Let me unshare it, okay? Stop sharing. Okay. No, this is recording. Share screen. Okay, hold on. I'm going to end this. Start from the beginning. Tell me what you see now.
It's the main page, the first page.
So what do you see now?
The first page that says career and job development.
It's a word map now.
Okay, hold on.
Where is it now?
So I'm going to do this. From the beginning. So you want, okay, no, and. Huh.
What are others? Maybe it's looking different for different people. What are others seeing?
Still seeing the first page, career and job development.
Okay.
Okay. You also see the first page. Okay.
I need, hold on, let me just pull the chat session. Where's the chat? Give me a second. New share. Oh, there it is. Okay, so tell me what you see.
Yeah, we see the
First
screen.
slide.
Do you see a screen that
First
says
slide
today?
again.
Wow, okay.
No, we see them, but it's not. Can you do slideshow?
I thought that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing, but it seems that,
Okay.
hold on.
Yes,
It's
yes,
changing
we're
now.
seeing it now.
Yes, now we see. Now we see it.
Now you see it? Okay, but I just,
Yes.
hold on. Because I tried to, hold on. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to move, because I have two screens. Okay. Okay, so stop sharing. Your screen share is paused. Tell me what you see now.
Today, the slide that says today.
Okay, good. Okay, so I want to make sure that I see the chat session. Let's see. How many people see the screen that says today? Please tell me yes.
We all do.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm seeing
good.
it
We all
also.
do.
Okay, so then, do you want me to start from here? Because that's really here where we started. See, because,
No, I think we all, when you go to a LinkedIn picture, because that's where we all are followed up to.
okay. So you will see,
LinkedIn
okay,
picture,
okay,
yeah.
all right. So you see that it says sample LinkedIn profile pictures?
Yes, it's moving now.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
wait until you all see me.
Yes, yes.
No, we see. Everything's fine now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. So now in the chat, you see 8 pictures. Just type 1. So if you say, I mean, 8 is obviously of me. So type 8 and just put either yes or no. I mean, just type one word, either yes or no. Do you think it's a good profile LinkedIn picture? So you can do all of them, or you can just do 1 or 2. So in the chat session, tell me, you have to remember to tell me 1. So if number 1, is this a good profile picture? Okay, number 2, is this a good profile picture?
No.
Okay, so 1, okay. 3. Okay, good. I'm seeing 2. Okay, 1, yes, good, perfect, perfect. I'm seeing 1 is, okay. 3 is no, good. 4, how about 4? Is 4 a good profile picture? I have 2 screens, so when you see my eyes looking, I'm looking at my second screen. How about 5? Is 5 a good profile picture? Good.
No.
And I have a question mark. I'll tell you next. So let's go to the next. So we had enough practice. Let me go to the next. So here's what I see. Number one, she's looking front and center at you. She's smiling. It has a genuine smile. You can see her eyes. You can see her. They say the good profile picture should be from your collarbone to the top of your head. Number two, I don't know who these people, I don't know who they are. I think one of them is a character at some theme park. So definitely no, this is a professional. This isn't LinkedIn, is not Facebook. This is about making professional contact. This person looks like, I think this is Mickey, took picture with Mickey, and that's who's in the picture. Absolutely no. Number four, unless this picture is, which is company page, it's not a company page, it's a person. But unless this picture is for Disneyland or Disney World, this is not a good picture. The reason I put a question mark on 5 is because while this is a good picture, it's really dark. You want the light to shine from the front. So now where I'm sitting, this is, the window is in front of me. If the window was behind me, I will look dark. So you want to make sure that people can see you. Number 6, the person is actually orange, is in everything she does. So that's it's a close-up. It probably could be a little closer, but it's a very appropriate picture for what she does. Number 7 is just the default icon. People need to see you, who you are. And number 8 is obviously mine. You're also LinkedIn background image, which is this when you go on my LinkedIn page. This is a prime real estate that LinkedIn gives you for free. Put something that says, what does it say about you, right? Helping faculty and teachers master the art of online teaching. That's what it says about me. These 2 websites, canva.com and unsplash.com, are 2 free websites that lets you create background image, lets you create other graphic. Make sure when you do, see that pencil, hover over it, because you want to make sure to create it in the exact same dimension. Because I tried to create mine, and initially I did, and it looked like it was so stretched or it's squished. So make sure you follow the exact same dimension. And like I said, they're free. Photo Feeler, if you have 2 profile pictures and you're not sure which one, upload it to Photo Feeler and ask people to vote on it. You know, which one present more authority, which one is more professional, which one looks, I'm more relaxed, whatever adjectives you want to use. I have a colleague who said the image she has on her LinkedIn, it's not one she would have chosen herself, but she put 2 or 3, and unanimously the one she has was voted as the best picture for her. That's what she had. Remember, perception is reality. So LinkedIn profile headline appear under your profile, under your name. You want to make sure that even on the phone, people can see it. It also shows in the field when you post or you reply to others. Represent your professional brand. Here's that word again, your professional brand. Also differentiate you from others. People will see it before clicking on your profile. Remember these industry words? You want in your headline to plug in some of these words. Your role, your unique skills and passion. So LinkedIn profile, unless you specify it, which we're going to talk about, it default to your job. So I have my doctorate from University of West Florida, but I'm not University of West Florida. Therefore, it shouldn't say Arifa Garman, University of West Florida. Here are 3 formulas: industry plus job title plus value or expertise. So Arifa Garman, head trainer, training faculty and teachers. Job title plus value to your unique audience. Or title, company name, doing what, for who. So LinkedIn headline, they've recently increased it, just like they did with Twitter, to 220 character. That, however, seems to be too long. 160 characters seems to be the ideal length, not too short, not too long. So again, unless you revise it, the default is your company or your title. You want to tell people what you do. Anytime you can use rich media to tell the story, do it. So your LinkedIn profile or the About section, when it's complete, it gets 8 times more reviews, 5 times more connection requests, 10 times more messages. Always show results. We're going to talk a lot about results as we talk again about your resume and your cover letter. So add rich media. You're going to see that theme is connected. Add rich media when possible. The LinkedIn profile skills shows your abilities, your strength, your expertise, builds credibility. Completed profile gets 5. Make sure you have 5 or more skills and are 27 more times likely to be discovered on LinkedIn. Endorsement. Here's a word about endorsement. I have people who connect with me on LinkedIn. So they add me as a connection. I look at their profile. I said, okay. Then within a minute, they say, can you endorse me for e-learning? Can you endorse me for public speaking? No, I don't even know you. I don't know the quality of work. When I endorse you, I'm putting my professional name on the line to say, yep, I think he's a good public speaker. I've never heard you speak. I've never seen any of your work. So that really shows a lack of professionalism when you connect with someone and within minutes say, can you endorse me? People who I worked with for years and years, so endorsement is just you click on something. A recommendation, it's almost like writing a recommendation letter. I had a professor that I worked with during my doctorate, and I worked with him as a research assistant. And recently I asked him for a recommendation, and I sent him few things of what it is that we did together. You need to remind people. Probably hundreds, if not thousands of people have come across him since then. So yes, endorsement builds credibility, but be very mindful when and who you ask. Always update your top 3 skills. Make sure you include hard skills. So if you know computer programs, these are hard skills, but there are also soft skills. Time management, leadership, these are soft skills. So tell us 2 things. We finished talking right now about LinkedIn. 2 things you learned today that's going to do to improve your LinkedIn profile. You know, if you wish to share 2 things you're going to do to improve your LinkedIn profile. And then we'll talk about number 2.
I think, well, as everyone is writing, I think for me, what you just said about the banner being prime real estate, that was a real eye-opener, Dr. Garman, you know? And I use Canva for other things, and I never considered that I could use Canva actually for LinkedIn banner. So thank you for that. That's really, really helped me a lot. And I think one of the things that you indeed spoke about is updating your skills. I think we tend to update the roles, we update the designations, but we need to also update some of our skills as well.
Right. We consistently are getting skills. So I see someone said endorsement, know who to ask and when. Very good. Use a better profile pictures. Absolutely. Update your top 3 skills. Use the LinkedIn banner, endorsement, update your skills. Absolutely. Now tell me what's one thing you learned today that you're not going to do anymore. So things you did and things you know that you're not going to do anymore. And I've been attending a lot of these webinars. So there are things that I learned, recently, I'd say about a year or two ago, about the banner, about things that endorsement. So sending connection without notes, very good. Asking someone who doesn't know you to endorse you, absolutely. Now, if if I value Muhsin's input and I know I want to have him endorse me, then maybe it's a longer term relationship. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to read some of his posts. I'm going to reply. I'm going to engage with him. I'm going to post some of my own articles and some of the own things I did. Then maybe a year later, I might feel a little bit more comfortable. He is going to feel comfortable saying, if I continue to share some things about e-learning, and then I say, will you endorse me for e-learning? He's going to say, yeah, the last year I saw a lot of examples of work you've done. You presented about pedagogies, it's students engagement. Yes, I think she does know about, but to have people, right out of the blue, will you endorse me? Because the answer is always, and I've actually learned now to, how in Facebook you unfriend people, you can, I keep forgetting what's it called, but it's like lose the connection. Because especially if you add connection and I have, hi, how are you? I just, again, hi, how are you? It's like, okay, I'm not interested in that kind of connection. This isn't adding anything to me. It just seems more semi-harassment than a professional relationship. So strategies for beginning your job search. That's the meat we're here to go. So we have to understand the 5 W's, and we're going to go in details on each one. Who, which we mentioned several times. I mean, the idea as I build this, you're going to hopefully leave with having gained the knowledge. Who, what, when, where, and why. So let's talk about the who. Who, I'm looking for a job. Who knows about you and knows what you are looking for? And who knows of you? That, because remember I showed you the second and the third connection. Who knows that you're looking for? When you're looking for a job, tell people you're looking for a job. Not every job is advertised on LinkedIn or Indeed. Some jobs are advertised on the company website, and I'm going to share that with you. Sometimes people like to know if you know someone, then ask them. Give you an example, even just know of you. Years ago, when I applied for my first graduate degree when I was in Canada, in Calgary, I applied for the master program in communication. And I made it all the way up, but I didn't get in. It was a very hard department to get into. And one of my colleagues said, did you let someone know you're applying? And my answer was, no, why should I? I have a very high GPA. I'm graduating with honors. My record should speak for itself. And she said, Arifa, it doesn't work that way. Yes, your record is very important. Said, all it takes is for one of your professor, maybe your honor thesis professor, is to pick up the phone and say to the department chair, to someone in the committee, hey, I have this student who's a great researcher. Keep an eye open for her application. She's a really good asset to your program. You still have to have your credentials and your record to get in, but now someone else is looking at the application with a different mindset because someone they trust spoke on their behalf. The same thing here. Who's willing to speak out and knows of you? So I'm applying for a job. Yes, I have to have my degree, my experience, but someone could call and say, hey, I know this lady, Arifa Garman, and I think she just applied for a job. I've worked with her for a few years. Keep an eye on her application. That's all they need to say. Your application has moved in several steps. We're going to talk about ATS soon. What is it you want to do? What is your ideal job? I personally don't believe there's anything called dream job. There's no such thing in life as 100% perfect anything. Go ahead. Oh, I'm just going, when I hear noises, I'm just going to mute the people if that's okay. So as you look for jobs, look at the job description. Copy some of the description that you believe fits you. Create a Word document of what your ideal job should be. Vicky Servant said to look for that 80-20 best collaboration. What does that mean? As you look for a job that has 80% of what you like and 20% of what you're willing to live with. Not exactly, I like it, not my best thing, but I'll live with it. Also, if you lost your job and let's say you worked in higher ed, at a university, at a college, you don't have to just be looking for a job in these industries. Remember, your skills go with you. So then maybe your next job is in the corporate industry or in something else. So that's why, remember when we talked about these 3 circles? Look for jobs that combine your skills. It doesn't have to be in the same industry you came from. When should you look for a job? The when is really when you're ready. However, when should not be so far away that it's hard to get back in. So for example, you all know we're going through election. So if someone lost their job July, said, you know, it's an election year, it's very iffy, I don't think I want to be looking for a job. I'll wait till January. Probably 6 months is too long. But if someone said, you know, I think I'm going to take a year or 2 off, that is definitely too long. Long enough that you might not be able to get back in because every industry continues to move forward. And unless you're gaining skills in that time, then you stop. You might have to go several steps back in the same industry. Always be looking and networking. So I have a job. I am relatively happy with the job. I don't get on LinkedIn at all. Then suddenly my manager changed or things change and now I'm not happy with the job. I'm thinking, okay, it's time I start get active on LinkedIn and find other opportunity. If you and your supervisor or your colleagues at work are on LinkedIn, someone's gonna say, why is Arifa suddenly very active on LinkedIn? But if you're always active on LinkedIn, even if not the same level of active, nobody's going to notice when you're actually looking for a job. So always be looking, always be networking, always be looking for the who and the what. So networking, find something you like. I'm sure there's a group of it. Look for the company, start following them. I wish to work at this institution, at this university. You can follow them and then learn about them, learn about their innovation, learn about what's important to them, what's their mission. And then when the right job comes along, you've already established, connect with few people. Then when it's the job comes up, because some of the jobs are not advertised on these LinkedIn or Indeed, they're actually advertised on the internet, on the job site, on the company. So if you go to whatever, the University of West Florida, if you go to career, they're going to be advertising jobs on there. Some jobs get national search, but not every job get a national search. Where are you willing to work? Where is the location? Are you willing to relocate? What is your ideal job situation? Where are you right now? Remote possibilities. Remember right now, because of COVID, it says, I look at jobs and it says remote while through COVID. When we all come back, this job is in Washington, DC. This job is in San Francisco. So are you willing to relocate? Now, there is a possibility, if you're absolutely not willing to relocate, there's a possibility, let's say you work with the company for 6 months and they really like you, they're willing to continue, let you work remotely. I talked with an HR person and she said, you know, this job was always in person in Pennsylvania, I think. But she said, COVID taught us that everything can be done online. So therefore, this now became a remote job. But if you're absolutely not willing to relocate, and it says specifically, this job has to be once we all go back to work in wherever, and you just say, well, you know, I just leave, that shows maybe a little bit unethical on your part. Why? Why do you want to work? What's the purpose? Is it a purpose for income, something to do, passion, benefits, healthcare, etc.? If all you want is something to do, and I've known people who money is not the reason they work. Yes, money is always good for all of us. But if money is not the issue, maybe you can volunteer. I've known people who serve on large industry on the board of directors, and they're just volunteers, banks, hospital, etc. They don't care about the money. They just want something to do, a purpose in life. So now, you can share, or I need someone not to write on the whiteboard, please. You can share or write down, because while it's still fresh, have you got some ideas on the who, what, when, where, and why? If you're willing to share, wonderful. If you're not, that's also okay. But I wanted to take a few minutes to jot down the who, what, when, where, and why. Right, you're seeing my green screen, right? That says who, what, when.
Yes.
Good. I don't know what happened there. So I see people writing, but I don't see anyone's willing to share. And that's okay. Just while the information.
Can I try on my own end?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
So your question
Is there
is
someone who
talking
wants
about
to ask to share? Is there someone who wants to share?
I don't know
Yes.
who was talking.
I said I want to share.
Go ahead. If you want to share, go ahead. Share it. You know, just ideas that have you thought about the who, what, when. You don't have to do all of them, but just, you know, have you kind of thought about who would you want to talk to? What is it you want to look for?
Okay, interestingly, I think this is absolutely relatable to possibly a job seeker, and a job seeker would like to work with someone that will contribute to his own personal growth in that line of I mean in his own line when it comes to the skill he already have, someone who also have a similar skill to what he holds or the experience he already have. And what I won't be able to do all. Then where you like to work where the environment it's it's suitable to exhibit all your strengths as regards what you know. You would like to work where you grow more, you learn more, but pertaining to what you study or the skill you already have. Then, sorry, you've taken out the pronouns.
The audio quality is not very clear, so I'm not able to hear you very well.
Maybe they can just type it.
Yes, if you can just type it, that'd be good, because it's breaking up that I'm not really hearing it very well.
Okay, sorry, I'll do that.
Okay. So while he's doing this, beginning your search, think again, just to summary, who do I need to let them know I'm looking for a job. What's also very important is how do I let them know I'm looking for a job, right? It's the not just who do I let them know. You don't want to blast a message on LinkedIn, I'm looking for a job. You want key people to be working or looking or helping you look together. So as you begin to look, there's something called informational interview. So that's a quick way to gather information about the job, a person, or a company. So you connect with someone and say, do you have 10 or 15 minutes? I'd like to know a little bit more about your company. So if they say yes, send an invite or a doodle where you can give them specific times to ask. Remember, at that time, you're the interviewer. Be very respectful of the time. If they say, I can only give you 10 minutes, only take 8 to 10 minutes, because that relationship is, you don't want them to be looking at their time and then after that to just say, I'm sorry, I just have to leave, because then that's the last thing they're going to remember. Have your question ready. And also after you end, say, based on our conversation, can you suggest 2 or 3 people in your company that I might be able to speak with, that I can get more information? So as you find the right job, be selective and be strategic. Find some that serve your needs, industry, and goals. Remember, we said this, just to review, start with your LinkedIn job search, Indeed, Glassdoor, Simply Hired. You can actually, on these websites, save your job search. So say, I'm looking for these industries with these job titles in this area, and it'll start emailing you. Also, be ready. We're going to talk about the resume, what to do and how to upload, but be ready to, as soon as you get something that you like, to respond. You wait 2-3 weeks, even 2-3 days sometimes, there are probably a lot more application. Even before COVID, I sat on many hiring committee. We had a job open for an administrative assistant for the Division of Social Sciences. 99 people applied for that position. 2 people already had doctorate. Sometimes when people are just desperate for a job, they'll apply, they will apply. So you need to be one of the first few people to apply if this is really a job you like. So find the available job, look on LinkedIn, look for industry specific sites. There is sites on LinkedIn, so which would be company pages, not individual pages. Look for smaller regional job boards, Indeed, LinkedIn, these are the major job boards, but there are other smaller ones. Search company career pages. If there's 2 or 3 companies that you like, they have to advertise, usually by law, on their company page for jobs. Now, I know when at the college we used to have jobs, it says for internal applicant, meaning the job, it's only advertised. If you know someone and they let you know this job is available, even though you're not an internal candidate, and if you're the greatest fit, they might take you. Always be thoughtful and strategic in finding the right job. So how to attract and find the right recruiter? Reach out to recruiter. They actually, some of them has the title, remember the headline that says recruiter. Make sure you reach out for those in your job type. If you are a data analyst, you probably don't want to go to someone who's recruiting for medical field, doctors, psychiatrists, and so on. If you're a teacher and someone is strictly an engineer, you probably, because their expertise is in that field, is in the field of looking for skills that company need to hire engineers. Pay attention to ads from recruiting agency. Remember, always your professional association, and of course, Google search. So finding your network. Remember the who we talked about? Who are you in network? Friends and family. Your professional contacts. Keep the message crisp, short. People don't, don't write long, I always call it a mini dissertation, short and sweet. Loose connection. Remember we said, so in my connection, it would say first, that is, a person and I are connected. Second, Carrie, this mean, and this came from my network, it means there's a person between us, she's connected to Carrie, and I'm connected, let's call her Janet. I don't know who that person is, but let's say Janet is connected to Carrie and is connected to me. So that's the second connection. Probably this is not someone I might be overly interested, only because she's a pharmacy clinical application. This is not in my field. Derek is a third connection, meaning there's two people between us. So, someone who knows someone who knows someone. But if that someone is in a field that you like, especially in the second, I can ask Janet, hey, Janet, can you introduce me to Carrie? I'm looking for a job and she seemed to be in the right industry. Approach them, but be very respectful of their time. Mention the connection. Tell them how you came. If you don't want to ask Janet, if I don't want to ask Janet to connect me with Carrie, I can, remember how I said when you add connection, add a note, say, hi, Carrie, my name is Arifa Garman. I have a consulting company, Garman e-learning LLC. Janet is a mutual connection of us. I'd love to connect with you, and tell her why, right? It's like, love to connect me, why? Tell her why. Maybe ask if she works in an industry that I feel it's something I like to work in, then maybe send us, say, can I meet with you for 10 minutes to discuss some possibilities for future employment? How to get ins at companies of interest, finding the in. Look for LinkedIn, look for those first degree and second degree. Follow your alumni. Alumni love to take care of each other. So someone you graduated with from high school, from college, members of your professional. So there is a lot of people right now in the e-learning industry. Some I served on many statewide organization that connects for the e-learning. This is my professional connection. Always be specific and follow up with a thank you. People shouldn't have to think, well, what does she want? Why is she contacting me? I am, hi, this is Arifa, etc., etc. I do, if I'm introducing myself to them, here's what I'd like. Be direct, be specific, be respectful. So now we're going to talk about the resume. Where do I start? How do what do I include? What do I not include? So, I should have put a number. A, B, and C, let's call them. Which is the most important to you? You just say A, B, or C. Where do I start? What do I include? What do I not include? What's important to you?
Dr. Garman, can you move the screen? It's still on who, what, when, where, and why.
I don't know what's happening. So what do you see now? I'm not sure. What do you see now?
Not moved yet.
Yeah, it's moving actually. It's moving here. I don't know if it's just like that on your side, Mrs. Ayanda.
So
okay, so it's moving. Okay. Yeah, it's moving now.
Okay, okay, it's all right. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, anytime when I start talking about, it and you don't see it. So now I'm at a screen that says resume. Do you see a screen that says resume?
Yes, you can see. I can see it.
Good. Okay,
yes.
So I think that's when it said, so someone, what do I include and what not to include? So two people want to know what's not to include. So right now in resume, right? You see another white screen that says resume?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So make it easier for the employer to connect the dots. I should not have, if I'm the employer, to read, and you've heard the expression, read between the lines to figure out what it is you do. Remember the keywords? Use those keywords because you looked for skills. Your resume should be regularly updated. Use keywords based on your skill set and the job description. The first half of the page should, so if I'm applying for a job, I pull up the job description. I have a Word document, I can write it, I tend to type. I read the job description and I write keywords on my document. Then I make sure I phrase these, I plug in to make sure that these jobs, these keywords are on my resume and are on my cover letter. Because remember, we did this exercise. We did the exercise with the yellow circle, the blue, and the red, and we found the overlap. Now I search for the job description. I make sure, help them connect the dot. This is what you need. That is exactly what I do. So resume, right? We're on a page that says resume and contact.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
What should be included
Yes,
in the resume? Your contact information up and center. Your name, email, and a phone number. It used to be you add your address. Now, as we live in a non-safe world, don't include your address. I don't know what the policy is, but I have recently been told, absolutely don't put your address. You never know who's going to show up at your door. So the headline with an accurate and strong introduction, not to your previous job, but to your future job, the one you're applying for. So if I'm an executive director of e-learning and testing, but now I'm relocating, whatever it is, and I'm applying for a coordinator, but I keep my job title as executive director, well, they're not going to hire me because say, well, what's an executive director doing applying for a job of a coordinator, which is several steps. So the headline, introduction to your future job. Construct a summary and overview with your future job in mind, the job you're applying for. Consider adding those keywords. Open up the, can you use a LinkedIn resume? Absolutely. Make sure it's, as you start following, you don't have to add them. Follow. There's a lot of people who that's what they do for a living. You don't have to use their services because some of it is very expensive, but they give free advice. Just follow the free advice. But remember, you take the job description. In the job description, they give you a cheat sheet. They tell you what they're looking for. It's not a top secret. So I write some of the words they're looking for. Then I weave those in my resume and in my cover letter. So professional experience, spell out what you are hired to do. Not, executive director of e-learning over results. Yes, people know their job, their title. What did you do? What did you accomplish? Then you have to include your education, your certification, and volunteer. So if some of your education is not needed, take it out. So for example, I have a degree in fashion design. At some point in life, it's how I made a living. I used to always include it. I don't. Because unless I'm applying for a job as a fashion designer, that degree doesn't need to be there. I used to think, well, it shows diversity on my part. It shows that I have right. No, it's taking real estate that does not need to be taken out. If some of the certification you take, you have, if it's not related to the job, take it out. Resume should be, resume, obviously it's different than a curriculum vitae or a CV. It should be short. So if it's relevant to the job you're applying for, keep it, not take it out. Some people also say include your LinkedIn profile in your resume. So if you had several jobs at the company, so let's say some people have worked for 10, 15, 20 years, and they kind of progressed in jobs at the same company, don't include all of them. You can say something like, started at 2000 and progress through accounting and office, just as an example, progress through accounting and office assistant role to executive director of whatever, so that you're not eliminating, but you're also not listing, because anytime you list a job, you have to list, 2-3 bullets of what you did, and that ends up being takes prime real estate. So remember, resume is about the employer, not you. Created with the audience in mind. Who's going to read it? The employer. Why are they reading it? For that specific job. Refresh the content. Focus less on tasks, more on results. Mind the wording. Remove old content or things that is not related to this job. So I took 2 certificates on using technology for teaching foreign language. Well, unless the job is teaching foreign language, I take that out now. Don't always do it with graphs and tables. Most ATS, I'll explain it, can't even read it. Tell me you can see a page that says cover letter now. It's not concerning me that it's not always progressing. You see cover letter?
Yes, I can see.
Good. Okay. Even when the job does not say cover letter required, include a cover letter. Because if 1 or 2 people on the company, because then you can be a lot more specific without taking, all this about degrees and so on. Keep the description, the job description. Remember, you have a cheat sheet. They give you a cheat sheet of what they're looking for. Keep it handy as you write your cover letter. Construct a strong lead, non-negotiable as soon as you say hello. Ty, here's what I can do for you right at the beginning. Make it clear, 2 to 3 sentences that make it instantly clear that you love the company, you love what they're doing. There's a good reason why you're applying instead of, well, why do you want to work here? It's a job. Even if it is just a job, you need to appear as very excited about working in that company. So employers look for those who are excited about what they're doing. Explain why you are a great fit. What specifically would you offer in this role? Create 3 to 4 themes, expand on it. Finish strong, wrap up. I would love to meet with you and discuss your goals and challenges and share more details on how I can meet some of these and say thank you. So we talked about ATS. ATS is applicant tracking system. Basically, it's a software application that handles the recruiting and hiring needs. Now, I said, the college I was working with is a small college. Some jobs actually receive hundreds and hundreds of applications. Nobody has the time. They cannot. They would need to hire several people just to go through this. So the ATS, hence you go through that job description that they give you and make sure you plug it in. So if it says 3 years experience required, especially on the required field under the job, make sure you address each element of the required field. So if there's 500 applications for one job, nobody has the time to go look for them. They have a system where it says, okay, I don't specifically say how many years I can. The software eliminates me automatically, meaning it doesn't even get to where a human can see it. If ATS determine you're qualified, only then it goes to people seeing it. However, if you know someone in the application and you can skip the ATS and send it straight to the person, do it. Remember the who? So I applied for a job. I know someone in the company, someone important, that someone I've been connecting. I say, hey, I just wanted to tell you that I applied for this position at your company. I'd appreciate a good word from you. She picks up the phone and said to the hiring manager, I know Arifa, we've worked together. Keep an eye up for her, out for her application. She's going to send HR and said, when Arifa's application comes in, send it straight to me. Keywords, remember, it's align it to the job description include them in your resume as well as in your cover letter, and also tell them what job you're applying for. You know, I'm applying for a job at your company. Well, what job? A company could have 500. I'm applying at you, you know, for this specific job. So now you've landed the interview, you did the resume, you got the cover letter, you're landing the interview. Now do your research. Research everything you can about the company. So when you get a call and says, we'd like to schedule an interview, ask who will be in the interview. Jot their name. Research these people. LinkedIn, research what it is they do. People share, even on LinkedIn, some personal things. It's possible to check what type of question they ask. Explore their social media. Spend time on their LinkedIn profile. See if you can find things, similarity, 2, 3 things to break the ice. You know, people will say, even on LinkedIn, I like soccer or I like coffee. I tend to like coffee myself. So then find 1 or 2 things that kind of breaks the ice, as it's not a very nerve-wracking interview. So practice, do a dress rehearsal, ask someone to ask you questions and record it, watch the playback. You'd be surprised to know how we act once we know the camera's on. Years ago, when I was in Canada, I was doing a certificate in business management. And the first class was creating and running your own business. And one of the guys was such a clown. And one of the things we had to do is we had to do this long 20 minutes presentation, and it's recorded, and we critique it. And he was standing at the podium and he would just do this all the way off camera. And so at first we thought he dropped something. No, he just was doing that the whole time. The funny thing is, he didn't know he was doing it. When we were watching it, he looked at it and said, where am I going? And we all said, that's what we were all wondering. He never even realized. At 20 minutes, the entire time, I think when he would get nervous, I know what happened. He would just go, stay there for a few seconds and comes back. So no, one of the things that I learned through all the training is that, you've probably noticed, I used to use my hand a lot. You don't want to be frozen solid like a robot. You don't want to do this constantly because it's distracting. So I learned some strategies to make sure that I still use my hand a little, but it's not overly distracting. So notice that this one hand, my left hand is at the chair. Only my right hand is visible. So this way I can't do this. Because sometimes when we're nervous, we don't even realize we're doing it. Also, choose some of the basics. Choose an outfit. Make sure it fits right, that if you didn't wear it before, the shoes, etc. Make sure you look professional. For ladies who work high heels, please make sure you wear heels that don't have, the rubber is gone and you just clickety-click. I myself find it so annoying. If you're interviewing in person, make sure you know where you're going, how long it's going to take. Are you able to drive or get there the day before? If you're driving there and you think it takes 10, 15 minutes, but there's actually a reroute because there's construction and now suddenly it takes half an hour, you arrive 15 minutes late, not good. If you're doing it online, make sure that you run this. I logged in early in this morning to make sure that my green screen is up, to make sure my background is up, even though sometimes the screen is not, but I think it's just the bandwidth. But make sure that you do, if I have something, run through the whole thing so that you're absolutely ready. Because when we're nervous, any additional added element, it just gives us all flustered. You don't want to be flustered. So during the interview, assume that everyone is weighing in. What does that mean? So if it's a company and you walk in, the receptionist greets you, said, I'm here for an interview. If you were running late and you're hoping to then dash to the bathroom to just kind of put yourself together, that person is going to share that information. I talked to a colleague, I was listening to a lecture, and he was interviewing for a job, actually for a president of a college, and he was driving from another city, but he knew that the interview was not till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and he was driving. He got there, he thought he has 2-3 hours, and he was heading to the bathroom, and the person said, oh, good, you're here. The person who was before you didn't show up. Can you come in now? And he said, it just went downhill from there. It just was not, and he said, I knew that I didn't get the job. There's no way I could have gotten the job. And that's what I mean, anything, if we're already a little nervous, I don't care how many interviews you've done, I will always have few butterflies. And so I learned to prepare to minimize some of these butterflies. Answer every question with the job in mind. I've interviewed one, I was on a chair of a committee, and we interviewed one person who was an internal candidate, but he kept talking. This was at a college, and he was going to be assistant coordinator of e-learning. But all his examples he gave, he was a server at a restaurant. He didn't get the job, needless to say. So after that, I called him to my office and I said, can I share some just advice from one professional to another? Said, you didn't mention anything about the job. You didn't mention anything about e-learning. Now, if that's what you mostly know, then say the example from the restaurant, but immediately bring it full circle and say, the skills I learned at the job, here's how I can use these skills at the assistant coordinator for e-learning. But you gotta bring it full circle. If all the examples, you didn't relate to the job, how could I even hire you? So answer the question with the job in mind. Remember that research you've done? If there is something you coach soccer, and you mentioned that, how you work, you developed a team, manage demand of the parents, but also if you know someone who actually also coach soccer, create that camaraderie, create that feeling. During the interview, make the conversation enjoyable. Breathe. If they ask you a question and you don't understand it, don't start answering. Ask for clarification. Can you expand? Can you tell me what you mean? I always take a paper and pencil. You don't want to do this the whole time. You obviously always want to make eye contact. But some questions are actually 3 or 4 parts. So I just write a word or two on what it is they're asking. And if it is a question made of several parts, after I answer it, I look at the person who asked the question and I said, did I answer your question? Or did I answer your question fully? Now, you do not want to say that for every question there is, because that looks like you're not paying attention. But if it's a complex question, so if there's 20 questions and you ask that 4 or 5 times, that's fine. Remember, the job is not locked until you have a written and signed offer. What does that mean? So we've had, for example, we've hired the HR director. It was a full day. The morning they came in, they had breakfast with key people. Then they had meeting with division chairs. Then they had a meeting where kind of with the entire campus. Then at the end, there's a social event where again, some key people, it's possible the same key people with breakfast, they took the person drinks, dinner, whatever. You're still part of the interview. So don't slip up and say something that you shouldn't, or that, oh, I was so concerned that you were going to find X. You are not hired until you have a written and signed offer by both parties. After the interview, mention what you make, so send an email, mention what you have forgotten. Again, in our effort, as we get nervous, we forget things. Do not apologize. Don't say, oh, by the way, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you. In the email, I thank you for the opportunity. Give them 2-3 things to refresh their mind, what benefits, what value you bring to the company, and to add what you forgot. Send a thank you note as soon as you're out. Most of the time, these are sent in an email. Customize it to every person. There's 5 people on your committee, 6. There should be 6 email, and that send them, that they get individual email and thank them. So follow up after the interview if you didn't hear back. A good policy is to ask, what is the next step in the process? Some companies do, let's say, interviews on Friday. They schedule only 2-3 interviews on Friday if they have several candidates. If this is going to take 3 weeks and you happen to be the first one to interview, and let's say you interviewed on the 3rd of the month and it's now the 15th and you're panicking, you didn't hear from them, well, I haven't finished interviews yet. So ask, what's the next step? If you didn't hear in 2.5 weeks, check back and say, hey, I'm checking, maybe with the chair of the committee, I'm checking to see if there's any more questions I can answer for you. Follow up, and that's something I learned recently. Follow up even if you know you didn't get the job. It shows grace and invite conversation. It demonstrates positive attitude and it keeps you in the loop. You'd be surprised how many people we offer jobs. I mean, I don't know what happened in Nigeria, but in here they do a background check. And guess what? Not everybody passes the background check. So if you're that second person, you showed grace. Again, in the follow-up, even if you know you didn't get the job, be very gracious, thank them, and maybe 2-3 bullets of, again, your value, what you bring. It demonstrates your professionalism and keeps you on the radar. Now you got the offer, negotiating the salary. Again, depend on the type of job. Go gather some data, salary.com, LinkedIn. Think about the specific value you bring. Show your enthusiasm even if you are pushing more for what you want. So negotiating a salary, sometimes, even though they say initially a salary from $40,000 to $60,000, let's say, they said right now with the way things are, we're only able to offer $47,000. So if money is not going to increase, maybe you look for other benefits, vacation time, signing bonus, guaranteed paid pump, but then make sure the matrix are there. So after, the first year evaluation, if I meet all the requirement, I get pumped. Maybe reimbursement, car, education, work from home, depending on, Panama City is a little city, but let's say, but even when I worked with the college initially, I worked in one of the satellite campus and I was driving an hour and a half each way, each day. So my day plus 3 hours driving. So had I had maybe 1 or 2 days driving, working from home, that would consider a huge saving. I actually end up killing 2 cars in the process. So we're done. Good luck on your job search. And I know there's something question, but I think, right, don't you have something before we take questions?
No, just I think, engineer, do we have a video to play before? Thank you so much, Dr. Garman. That was so insightful for all of us. I think you could see that we're all taking notes to make sure that we don't forget everything that you've shared with us. Thank you. That was truly, truly insightful. I think we're just going to take a quick break, share a video with you regarding what we're doing as Get Jobs, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Engineer Idris, can we just share with the team? Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Bamidele Idris. I founded Get Jobs in 2017. A fast-growing job platform in Nigeria with the desire to bring job opportunities and career development to every unemployed youth. In Nigeria, where unemployment is currently pegged at 23.1% and may hit 33.5% in 2021. This is according to Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA. I set up this group to bridge the gap between employers and employees. We started this group in 2017 with just 10 members, and we have risen to over 25,000 members in August 2020. We have over 300 documented job successes. Get Jobs has partnered with over 20 organizations and several top professionals. According to Mark Zuckerberg, the challenge for our generation is creating a world where everyone has a sense of purpose. To keep our society moving forward, we have a generational challenge to not only create new jobs, but create a sense of purpose. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, Get Jobs, for this great initiative and this great platform and the success that it has achieved on behalf of so many job seekers. And now we want to give an opportunity to you, the job seekers, to ask Dr. Garman your questions. Please keep it brief because time is quite tight. So please keep it brief and to the point. And who will be the first attendee to ask a question? You can unmute.
I have several questions in the chat. Can I answer?
Okay, so we can go straight to the chat box and then you can choose which question that you'd like to address Dr. Garman.
Okay, so is it okay for interviewers to ask your current salary? It depends on the policy. Unfortunately, right now, like I know at the college, it is required that you put your current salary. So you can say I decline to say, but yes, unfortunately, it is right now they ask for your current salary, which is unfair. So if I'm working at a job that I'm making 20,000 and now I'm applying for a job at 50,000, depending on what you bring, but yes, they do. So, okay, so that someone said, okay, can I share all your question? Try to ask for feedback before leaving? No, you do not want to ask for feedback. How well do you think I did? Is that, I think that's what you want. I don't think you would want to ask, how well that I did. If you know one of the committee members, you can ask them privately, but definitely you do not want to ask, how well do you think I did in the interview? Yeah, no, I think I'm just reading I tend to view this as negative. It's just someone who's, and I of course don't mean to offend anyone, but you're just someone who needs constant assurance that, how well do you think I did? You definitely do not want to ask that. Again, if so here's something I did. I was working at the college and I applied for several, higher up jobs. I applied for several jobs and I didn't get them. I made an appointment with the vice president and I said, this was years ago. And I said, I want to talk to you because I've applied for several jobs, whether you were the chair of the committee or on the committee, and didn't get them. So I said, first, I want to assure you, I'm not, judging the question. What I am looking for is some feedback on things that I could have done to have gotten the offer. And she had given me some advice that I still use to this day. So after that, if you didn't get the job and one of the people, you might just go and say, hey, could you just tell me some things that I can improve, on my next, to improve my chances of getting the job. I'm trying to read the question, asking about how one performed sometimes job application. Example, is it professional to request from the interviewer's mail for a follow-up? I don't know that I don't understand what that question is.
I think what they're saying is that, is it okay for them to ask them, to follow up with them, not necessarily to find out feedback, but just to follow up with them, the process, how far the process is going, or how long is the
yes, yeah, if you don't hear from them, very polite, just following up with you on the process. always make it sound like you're kind of trying to provide more value. I'm wondering if there's any more questions I can answer for you. And sometimes say we're still in the process of interviewing. Or during the interview, you can ask, is it okay if I email you, if I have further questions? Because sometimes they ask you, and that's, by the way, one thing she told me when I talked to the vice president, and said, when they ask you, do you have a question? Don't ever say no, because it seems that you didn't think enough about the job to come up with question. It couldn't have been all 100% clear. So now if I go for an interview, I have the questions ready beforehand. I write the question, and then I say in the job descriptions. So when I moved from coordinator of cooperative education to the e-learning project manager, I asked them, and they were faculty, and I said, you asked me about this. Now I want to ask you, what are your expectations for the person? Well, I said, what are your expectations of me in this position? Even though I wasn't offered, I was kind of throwing these subliminal messages that I'm already in the position. What would be your expectation? Have questions ready. And of course, never ask about the salary. Usually a salary is negotiated with HR, not with the committee. Never ask about the salary, but do go with your question ready, absolutely. What do one do when one's job is not giving room for career development? I think it's time to look for another job. Don't leave it. I made a mistake years ago. My mom, may she rest in peace, I resigned from a job. I was assistant principal. And she said, do you have a job? And I said, no, but I have this and this and this degree. It took me a year and a half, and it wasn't the pandemic before I left, before I found another job. Keep getting very active on LinkedIn and start looking. If you've been in the job for a while and you haven't moved up at all, excuse me, I've heard that some institution, if you came in as, just throwing example, I know what you do. If you came in as an administrative assistant, in their mind, you are always administrative assistant. I've actually heard my son worked in a major company. He said, sometimes you have to leave the company, get job elsewhere, a good job, and then come back to demand more salary. So I think I've answered all the questions. Go ahead if you have any other questions.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you a question, Dr. Garman, and you spoke about it earlier on about how active you should be on LinkedIn. I mean, you see a lot of these new influencers on LinkedIn now. There's this new breed of LinkedIn influencers, and they're all about you need to post. I mean, is that effective at all? What tips would you give in terms of, making sure that your posting is targeted and is effective?
So I've been doing some research about, there's people who are making tons of money on it. I attended a class a week ago, and you know what, I'm sure you know what infomercial is. There were actually 1,300 people in that. She also called it master class. And then at the end, she was selling something, some information for $600. And I don't know. So you want to be active, but there are people who just, so they say, post early in the morning, reply to key people. No, there's some that just but there's people, that's what they do for a living. They actually make a lot of money expanding their brand and helping others, because that's what that presentation for $600 is, to help you expand your network on LinkedIn. Well, you can do that for free. You just have to be diligent on it. It's the same thing as being an influencer, right? On YouTube, or that's just a new way to make a living. I just, I want to expand my network, but I want to expand it not just to be a LinkedIn for its own sake, but to kind of lead me to something more professional.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So what is the best?
Go ahead. There's a question. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. What is the best practice for applying for overseas job, considering the fact that they need an active work permit? That's a question I'm honestly not qualified to answer. I just don't want to give you, like right now, even in the jobs that you're applying for here in the state, there is now a question standard on all. Would you be required a sponsorship. You probably would need to get an in on somebody in the company before you start applying. Unless you have skills that a company A is really wanting, having to sponsor someone, again, I'm only speaking from here, when I lived in Canada and the United States, is a lot of steps they have to follow. So for them, you have to really be bringing some quality to the company for them to jump through this. So I would say start making those little connections and see if someone gives you in. I've never done that, so I honestly don't know how that works, and I would hate to give you the wrong advice.
Well, thank you for that honest answer.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
learned a long time ago to never make up an answer. People will see through you. If I
Yes.
know, I'll tell you. If I don't, I just feel like cheating you if I just make up an answer on the spot.
Thank you so much. Anyone else has a question to ask Dr. Garman? You can unmute your mic and ask her directly.
Sure.
Do we have a question? Don't be shy. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions. Engineer Idris, hi, you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I just want to appreciate Dr. Arifa for her insight into the topic. I think your answers have been quite wonderful, because a lot of participants actually want to find out about all this, and I'm sure that some of them want to get in touch with you via your maybe LinkedIn profile. So I don't know, maybe it's something that you can share for participants to actually reach you in case they have other questions to ask.
Okay, lately I've been busy, but you're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I show you it's under my name, Arifa Garman, and I'll do my best to answer the questions as quickly as possible. But I'm right now working on several projects, so sometimes it might take a short while before I get back to them.
Okay, thank you so much from my side. Thank you so much from my side.
So if I presume, right? Don't you have something else, another short video to show? But if you, I'm happy to stay and answer questions. But if not, then thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garman. Thank you everyone for attending today's session. We understand that with the current situation in Nigeria, we have some of our attendees, occupied with some other personal matters. So we hope to continue with these master classes, and we hope to see more of you in the next coming sessions. And we hope the engineer will be in much better spirits by then. Engineer, do you have something to say before we close?
Just so that you know, I don't know who's recording, but someone stop the recording.
Yes, I'm actually doing that from my side.
Okay.
And
okay.
Yes, and we're streaming it live on Facebook too.
Really?
Yes, we're streaming it live on Facebook too. Yes. So
I did not know that.
So I'll share.
Actually, a lot of our participants, Dr. Garman, watch on Facebook.
Yes, yes. So I would just like to play us just a 2-minute video for Masterclass and Mind Connect, so that we see what's happening there too. Just a second.
Hello, my name is Babatunde Adekombi, founder of the Masterclass Initiative. I was born in the bustling metropolitan city of Ogun State, Nigeria. The global quest for remodeling education cannot be overemphasized, And still, there are some key issues that are yet to be addressed. The first and perhaps the greatest challenge facing Nigeria and Africa at large is the difficulty for good quality business education that is capable of bringing about sustainable development due to inadequate funding by federal, state, and local governments, to the extent that funding has been in response to the conditions imposed by the learning environment. The Masterclass Initiative, headquartered here in Lagos, Nigeria, was founded to create virtual opportunities for learning on practical subjects, enabling young adults, particularly school leavers, and connecting them to business academics, organization leaders, for personal and communal development. To date, we have organized and well-facilitated sessions on marketing and sales, legal and ethics, career development, project management, business strategy, and branding. Our main audience is comprised of 58.1% graduates, 19.2% undergraduates, 10.1% postgraduates, 6.3% master's holders. Most of our attendees are either entry to middle-level job seekers. In the short time we have existed, we have succeeded in organizing over 25 online masterclass sessions with an average attendance of over 100 participants, predominantly from West Africa and India. Recently, we have recorded a reasonable number of participants from South America, Europe, and East Africa. More importantly, we have established crucial partnership with Africuna TV, GetJobs.ng, MVIT India, Minds Connect Consultancy. More collaborations are planned as we intend to grow exponentially and rapidly.
According to the World Economic Forum, the current situation has exposed the unpreparedness of many higher education institutions in Africa to migrate online. Therefore, this era allows educators to join online professional learning communities, such as the Masterclass Initiative, to pursue in-service career training, to stay in touch with the trends, share tips, and host best practice to achieve the goal of an evolved and high-quality standard of education. The Masterclass Initiative recognizes this pivotal moment, and there's an urgency to provide quality content and facilitators on key career and business topics to a large demographic of school leavers, entry-level professionals, and entrepreneurs across the African continent. Our partnership facilitates resources and learnings to be incorporated into the Masterclass Initiative to enable rapid growth and wider participation reach. As a recipient of quality international and globally recognized education, I believe good education should be a basic human right, not a privilege for the few. For in the absence of knowledge, a people, innovation, and opportunities will surely perish.
And that's a wrap for tonight, everyone. Thank you once again to Dr. Arifa Garman, all the way from Florida. We appreciate the time that you've taken to share with us these great insights, and we hope to have you back with us in the future. By then, hopefully, most of us would have put into practice what you've said and would have successfully, been able to secure ourselves some good jobs out there. So thank you, Dr. Garman. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good and safe evening. God bless you. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Remember, this is recorded and follow us on social media.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.